Bonjour tout le monde, merci d'être venu aujourd'hui. Ça me fait plaisir d'être à l'île Saint-Édouard afin de côtoyer les gens, écouter le gros bon sens de monsieur et madame tout le monde ici. Mais malheureusement, j'entends ici la même chose qu'on entend à travers le pays. C'est qu'après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, tout coûte plus cher. Le travail n'est plus payant. Le coût de logement a doublé et la criminalité, le chaos, les drogues et le désordre sont maintenant communs. Ça, c'est le résultat de 8 ans de Justin Trudeau. Nous sommes ici pour une tournée afin d'annuler la taxe carbone. Et c'est ici qu'on voit les prix de l'essence que Justin Trudeau a imposé sur les gens de l'île Saint-Édouard. On voit que le taux d'inflation alimentaire est le plus élevé ici sur l'île Saint-Édouard. Pourquoi? À cause de l'application de la taxe Trudeau sur l'essence, la chaleur et aussi indirectement la nourriture. Une taxe sur nos agriculteurs, c'est une taxe sur les camionneurs, c'est une taxe sur la nourriture. Et c'est la raison pour laquelle j'annonce aujourd'hui que le gouvernement Poilievre va annuler la taxe carbone pour rendre les prix plus bas pour les gens ici et à travers le pays. C'est ça le gros bon sens. Thank you very much for coming now in English. It's great to be here in Prince Edward Island for my Axe the Tax tour. And boy, is that tour ever timely. Look at Trudeau's tax right there, $185.8. Gas prices have skyrocketed across Atlantic Canada since Trudeau's tax took effect at the beginning of last month. And now the devastating consequences are hitting grocery stores. Just this week, we saw the inflation numbers out, and food inflation was worse in Prince Edward Island than anywhere else. The Atlantic provinces were among the worst anywhere in Canada. That corresponds with the coming into force of the carbon tax. Higher taxes on the farmers who make the food and the truckers who ship the food means higher taxes on all who buy the food. The Trudeau tax is a food tax. And that's why I announced today to all Prince Edward Islanders and Atlantic Canadians that a Pierre Poilievre-led common sense conservative government will axe the tax to bring home lower prices for everyone. But that's not the only way that Trudeau and his Liberal team have failed Atlantic Canadians and Islanders in particular. We see that months after the international panel found that P.E.I. seed potatoes are safe, the federal government in Canada continues to block their legitimate export to the United States, harming the potato farmers who are a key part of the local economy in this province. Trudeau does nothing to defend the farmers of this province. He takes the people in Prince Edward Island for granted, even though he has all 4 seats here. What does he give them in return? Higher taxes on their fuel and food, a tax on their farming way of life, and terrible bureaucratic fisheries policies that hurt our ability to harvest the seas. A Pierre Poilievre-led government will fight for farmers, fish harvesters, and all Prince Edward Islanders by giving them a strong voice in my government and around my cabinet table. We know that everything feels broken in Canada after 8 years of Justin Trudeau. Everything costs more. Work doesn't pay. Housing costs have doubled. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are common in our streets because of his catch-and-release policies. And the Prime Minister merely tries to divide, to distract from that terrible record. The good news is that life wasn't like this before Trudeau, and it won't be like this after he's gone. A Poilievre-led government will bring home lower prices by axing the carbon tax, capping spending, and cutting waste. Thank you. Cutting waste to bring down the deficit, inflation, and interest rates. We'll bring home powerful paychecks with lower income taxes that reward hard work. We'll respect our fisheries and give more and clear support for the fishery sector so that we can harvest the seas and bring home a better catch. We will reduce the tax and red tape on our farmers so that they can keep more and lower their prices. We will develop our resources in this country rather than importing foreign dirty resources from dictatorships abroad. We will bring homes people can afford by incentivizing our municipalities to clear away the red tape and deliver faster and cheaper building permits so that we can build millions of new homes and put an affordable roof over the head of our young people. And we will bring safety to our streets by ending the attack on legitimate, law-abiding hunters and farmers, and instead going after dangerous criminals and bolstering our border against illegal imports. This is common sense. It's the common sense of common people here in the island and right across Canada. United for our common home. Your home, my home, our home. Let's bring it home. Thank you very much. I now welcome your questions.
We'll have time for 5 questions from the floor.
Hello, Mr. Poilievre. A number of your own comments and actions have been characterized as dog whistling to
By
the
who?
far right.
By who?
By a number of
By
different.
who?
But I think it's been
By
characterized
who?
by that way. But
By
are
who?
you trying to
Sorry,
court? Are
I
you
just
trying
need
to
I
court
need to
the far
clarify.
right?
Sorry,
vote?
I just need to clarify. By who?
By a number
By-
of different experts and a number of
who are the
different people
experts?
who work
Who are the
work in
experts?
this. Okay, well, I think
All
it's
right.
been established that
Right.
this is
Yeah,
a concern.
it's
Are
not-
you trying to court the far right vote?
Who are these experts? You say that there are experts who are saying this. Who are they?
My question is, are you trying to court the
Sorry,
far right vote?
I am sorry. Your question seems to be based on a false premise. You can't even tell me who these experts are. It sounds like it's just a CBC smear job. Thank you.
But
Next
what
question.
about the question about whether that's
The answer
that's the
is that
intention?
I have a common sense agenda to axe the carbon tax, bring home powerful paychecks, clear the way to build affordable homes, to put people in housing that they can afford. That is a common sense, mainstream Canadian agenda, and I know that Justin Trudeau's supporters are so desperate to distract from that because his political career is falling apart. So we're seeing an attempt here to distract and protect Justin Trudeau from his extremely unpopular carbon taxes and other failing policies, but we won't let him or his or others distract from that reality. So thank you.
So you're not going to
Next
answer that
question.
question?
She doesn't work for CBC, but I do. Carrie Campbell. Thank you for taking my question. Prince Edward Islanders are still cleaning up from post-tropical storm Fiona, and now they've been told to prepare for another very active hurricane season this year. So if you axe the carbon tax, will you have another plan to try to reduce Canada's emissions? And if so, what is that plan?
The plan is to, instead of bringing up the cost of traditional energy that we need, let's bring down the cost of low-carbon alternatives that are promising for the future. Let's green light green projects like tidal wave power that was proposed for Nova Scotia that would have brought clean, renewable power from the oceans onto the grid in Atlantic Canada. Let's speed up safe approval of nuclear power so that we can bring clean, green, emissions-free nuclear energy onto our grid. Let's incentivize and sign off on carbon capture and storage so that our energy sector can put the carbon right back in the ground where it came from. In other words, let's green light green projects rather than trying to raise the cost of traditional energies that are still required. Look out at these roads here. These people need to drive vehicles. If you're coming into Charlottetown from Cavendish, you can't do it by transit. You can't do it by bicycle. You know, Chrystia Freeland came to P.E.I. recently and said that everyone should just ride a bicycle if they're worried about $1.86 a liter gas prices. That's not realistic, and it does nothing for our environment. What we need is to lower the cost of carbon-free alternatives rather than raising the cost of the energy that Canadians still require. Thank you.
Can we just get that in French?
Oui, merci. Nous devrions donner le feu vert au projet vert au lieu d'essayer d'imposer davantage de taxes sur l'énergie dont les Canadiens ont toujours besoin. Des camionneurs Des gens qui travaillent, des fermiers, ont toujours besoin de l'essence et de diesel ici à l'île Prince-Édouard. Mettre une taxe sur leur épaule ne change rien, sauf que causer davantage de pauvreté. Donc, moi, je veux donner le feu vert au projet nucléaire, au projet de vagues d'océan, au projet de gaz naturel, au capturage du carbone, ce qui va permettre notre économie de réduire les émissions de gaz à effet de serre en même temps que nous protégeons nos consommateurs. C'est ça le gros bon sens.
Okay, next question.
Hi there, Stu Neepy from The Guardian. Premier King has said that he would like to see the cost of Confederation bridge tolls drop by half to $20. Senator Percy Down has also been calling for bridge tolls to be axed. Do you support both of these proposals?
Thank you. Listen, I'm open to it. I just met with the Premier and he shared his arguments on that. I understand that Prince Edward Islanders are suffering an affordability crisis after 8 years of Trudeau that we must address. That includes axing the carbon tax, but it also will take other measures to make it fair for Islanders to live in a difficult geography that is energy intensive and requires long distances of travel. So I can't give you a yes or no here because I'm not unveiling my election platform at this moment. But I'm here to say that I've heard the argument. I understand the frustration and the concern, and I'll be working with my Conservative colleagues, including my Atlantic caucus, which includes Dr. Ellis. Dr. Ellis from Nova Scotia is here as well, who's sharing a lot of the views of Atlantic Canadians with me on this trip, and we'll be working on developing the right policy for transportation for people on the island and across Atlantic. Oui, merci. C'est un argument que j'ai entendu. Je viens de rencontrer le Premier ministre King ici à Charlottetown. Il m'a mentionné que le coût est très élevé, c'est exorbitant. Donc, je l'écoute. Je comprends que les gens sur l'île de Prince-Édouard souffrent de la crise de coût de la vie. Et c'est très malheureux que Justin Trudeau a imposé cette souffrance sur les épaules de ces gens-là. Moi, je vais réduire les coûts en général, commençant en annulant la taxe carbone, mais on va considérer des autres propositions aussi. Merci.
Okay, next question.
Bonjour Monsieur Poilievre, Julien Lecacheur de Radio-Canada.
Oui.
Dites-moi, je voudrais savoir, que pensez-vous du fait que le gouvernement envoie le ministre de l'Environnement en mission en Chine alors qu'on s'apprête à déclencher une enquête publique indépendante sur l'ingérence chinoise et que Pékin a mené des campagnes de désinformation, notamment contre des députés conservateurs?
Je pense que c'est épouvantable que le gouvernement Trudeau n'a absolument rien fait afin de protéger notre démocratie de Pékin. Pékin s'est intervenu dans 2 élections afin d'aider Justin Trudeau. Et on n'a pas d'enquête publique, on n'a pas un registre de l'influence étrangère. Il n'a littéralement rien fait pour protéger les citoyens canadiens de l'origine chinoise qui sont menacés par des stations de police ici au Canada. Moi, je trouve ça épouvantable et nous réclamons immédiatement une enquête publique en ce qui concerne l'influence de Pékin dans notre démocratie, un registre de l'influence étrangère pour identifier ceux et celles qui manipulent notre démocratie en agissant de mauvaise façon dans notre système. Et il faut commencer à défendre notre démocratie ici au Canada. I'll just repeat that in English. I think it's outrageous that Justin Trudeau has done absolutely nothing to stand up for Canada against Beijing. Beijing interfered in 2 subsequent elections to help Trudeau win. They have police stations on Canadian soil targeting Canadian citizens. I just think it's incredible that he's done absolutely nothing to stop it. We're demanding an immediate public inquiry and a full registry to identify and expose anyone who works for a foreign dictatorship in a paid capacity to manipulate our politics. This is common sense. And I think it's just incredible. We have a prime minister who says he admires the basic Chinese communist dictatorship, who's allowing foreign police stations on our soil to intimidate our citizens. You want to talk about extremism? That's extreme. It's extreme to have a prime minister who would allow a foreign dictatorship to run police stations in our country, to single out and target Canadian citizens with intimidation. That's not something that I will allow. We will bring home control of our democracy.
Okay, thank you. This will be the final question.
All right.
Thanks. Another China-related question. I gather today China added some countries back onto a list of countries where Chinese citizens are allowed to travel on group travel for it would be tourism related, but Canada was not added back onto that list. As you know, tourism is an important industry in P.E.I.
Yeah.
I know this is being billed as Canada being punished for taking a hard line against Beijing. Why do you think Canada has been singled out for exclusion on this?
I don't know what hard line you could accuse Justin Trudeau of taking. What has he done? He's done nothing. He's not called a public inquiry into foreign interference. He's not set up a foreign influence registry. He's not even shut down foreign-controlled police stations in our country. So he hasn't taken any line. Justin Trudeau has been trampled on by the dictators in Beijing. And maybe it's because of their ideological kindred spirit that they have. He said, in his own words, that he admires the basic Chinese communist dictatorship, something he has never retracted all these years later. It's time for a prime minister who will stand up for this country and its people and bring home control of our democracy. Thank you very much.